Hello, everyone watching on YouTube and listening on Spotify. It's another episode of NRG Insights. For those that don't know, we're speaking to influential people across the financial services market, people that can add any, insights, as the podcast suggests, whether that be from the lending side, the broking side, or any ancillary products kind of in between that sell in. And on that note, I've got Peter Beaumont here today from Stamford Finance. Thanks for joining me, Peter.
Thank you very much for having me, Marcus. I think it's the first time someone said I'm influential.
Well, you are, because you're on air. This is the heights, though. Just so you know, this is the top end. This is as good as it gets.
Well, hopefully people don't watch beyond here, because then they'll.
So, talk to me about your financial services career, or your career as a whole, just to where you got to where you are now.
Yeah, it's been a fairly convoluted journey, to be honest. I started out developing myself, so a couple of smaller schemes. The first one was 4 units, the second one was 3 with a commercial unit, and then a pair of semis to finish. And it was, I think with construction, you're either wired like that or not.
Yeah.
It took me 3 different sites to realise I'm just not wired like that. But I understood why people were doing what they were doing on development sites, and I understood the spreadsheets that sit behind it. So yeah. I thought, how do I take what I've learned from this and make use of it? And actually, development finance and bridging finance was the logical point for me. And I developed a bit of a network in the southeast of developers as well. So I had a bit of a running start to actually get going in the lending world. Nice. Again, no formal sort of background in terms of university degrees or bachelors or anything like that. I do have a degree, but it's in sports science and business management. Perfect. So, yeah. So
the obvious crossover.
We can talk about that all day long with you, though, can't we? So
no, because I know nothing about the science behind it. How was that beneficial to you? Obviously, being a developer, going into lending, because I speak to brokers who decided to go into broking because they had such an awful experience with their broker. Is it similar with dev when you go, I know I can add it? Well, talk to me about that journey.
Yeah, I mean, when I talk to the guys in the field and I hear the issues that they're facing, and I understand them. They're developers, they're builders. They have a different mindset to the mindset that I have. They understand laying bricks, and they understand infrastructure. They understand rights of way, things that I rely on other people to understand.
Yeah.
So when I talk to them, their issues are more, I don't understand why there's £200,000 of retained interest here. What does that mean? Yeah. So it was very much with that in mind that our facilities, we just try to make them as easy as we can for our borrowers because again, we understand they're not finance experts.
Yeah.
They're good at what they do, and we're good at what we do.
And that's why they're using you, right?
Exactly. Well, it's simple. Again, I'm not shy to say we're not the cheapest in the market, but there is
unfortunately only one cheapest in the market, and there's 240 of you, so you can't. I don't know who it is, but one of them is.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you right now. It seems to change every day. But
let's talk about that actually, because like I said, there are 240 people, not including kind of family offices and private money, or 240 lenders, all trying to kind of niche, carve their space out. How are you going about it? And was it something you looked at from the very beginning and stuck to it, or was it happened organically as you started to lend money?
Good question.
I've got loads of good questions. Do it for a living.
More recently, we've just been listening to the market, to be honest. 2 of our biggest products and our most popular products at the minute are development exit, and that was because of feedback from borrowers that are saying, your dev exit's good, it's at a decent leverage, but we just need those extra 1 or 2 points. Rates are high, so they've been paying slightly more for development facilities, things like that. So we've just tried to respond to what the market's saying to us, especially more recently. At our early days, again, we had a bit of a moving start because we had established relationships and networks that trusted us. And I think trust is a massive factor for a developer drawing money from somewhere.
Yeah.
You hear the horror stories all the time. So whilst people are aware that they're paying slightly more for us, they trust the people behind the helm of the ship, and they understand that we'll do what we say we're going to do.
Yeah. And do you know, that's so important. And like I've said before about only one cheapest. Development finance is very, very different. You've got to be much more commercially aware, haven't you? It's not just about who's got the fewest amount of bips. It's all about being able to deliver it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, understanding a development facility is also complicated. So sometimes when you lift the sheets up and you look under there and you think, oh, that's not quite what I thought it was.
Yeah. Is that what you've set out to do, though? Just be kind of as self-explanatory as you possibly can. Like you say, that's not their core business.
Yeah, we just try not to overcomplicate things. So, I mean, the big thing I would say for us, in terms of from the ground up development side of things, we don't retain interest on our facilities. And I know that I don't want to dive into the depths of our facilities.
No product selling.
Yeah, sorry. But retained interest to a developer is just complicated. It's another confusion when actually they want me to say to them, you can have £1 million and then you can draw another 2 million quid. That's as much as they want to understand it. So that's
there's so much you have to pay back.
Exactly. We just try to keep it as clear as we can.
Yeah. And how did you, I know you obviously had that initiative. So when did you first start? When was the business?
2018, I started lending.
Okay, amazing. And obviously having to navigate that awkward bit a couple of years later. Oh, a year later.
Is there ever a not awkward bit? I mean, it always moves, doesn't it? We've seen 0.25 as a base rate, and we've seen 5.25.
Yeah. Do you know what I was saying to someone the other day about the trickiness in this? We're in the same market, right? So when you find it tricky, so do we. And I said, I can't remember the last time I had like a good 2-year run at it. Just like problemless,
plain sailing.
But then everyone could do it as well, right? If it was easy.
Yeah.
But
true.
You're right. Although we mentioned COVID as a tricky time, especially for development, right? That was a tough time. But when has there been like a comfortable, 18 months, 2 years? There just hasn't.
But that brings about different players to the market as well, doesn't it? So we're seeing a lot of opportunistic buyers at the minute. Rates are slightly higher, so prices are slightly suppressed. So actually, we've got a lot of below market value transactions going on in the market. It just means that, again, responsiveness to what people actually want is quite important. And again, everyone's got their own flex or not. To be honest, we're not great at below market value.
Well, I was going to talk about below market value because it always is it's kind of a touchy subject in the sense that the value is what someone will pay for it.
Yeah.
But if someone else is going to pay more, then that's the market value. So below market value is a tenuous analogy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a strange. Yeah. We all use it like, oh yeah, no, because I can get that below market value. You go, well, is it really below market value then? Unless you're buying it off your mum, you know what I mean? It's not like it's a tricky one.
Yeah. Again, we don't love it because if you're buying it below market value, for me there has to be a justification as to why it's below market value. Because if you're telling me you're getting a deal that someone else couldn't get the same deal on, what have you done? Like, have you if you've got something to do with planning on that site or something like that in the background, it's a different conversation. An option agreement, for example, is a case of below market value there's a reason for it. But I agree with you. It's not one of our strong suits. There are lenders out there that are great at doing it as well. So each to their own, and we try and stay in our lane as much as possible, really. Well,
let's talk about that. Let's talk about staying in your lane. So, like I said before, you're all trying to get that niche out, and you do some quirky stuff as well, right? You look at some interesting stuff. So, do you stay in your lane, or do you have it? There's also opportunities to grab bigger pieces of the pie as well. Are you quite staunch in what you want, or even though you still do quirky stuff?
I mean, we're in a bit of a unique position, I would say, because we are a genuinely privately funded lender. There's no institutional tape in the background. If you came to me and said, can you give me your criteria sheet, we don't have one. It doesn't exist. We've got what we would like, but if somebody came to us and said, oh, your maximum facility is 5 million. This is 5.2. Okay, let's have a look.
Yeah.
If you said, oh, we don't do adverse credit, there's 5 directors here. I mean, we do adverse credit, but if we didn't,
example,
there was 5 directors and one of them had adverse credit. You know, to an institutional line, that's a tick in that box of adverse credit. To us, it's okay. 1 in 5 of you has this, and there's an explanation. We can take a view. So we stay in our lane as much as we can, but also we like to work on deals with people that we like. Firstly, people that have good motives and a good direction of travel in terms of what they're hoping to achieve. So we stay in our lane in terms of most of our products, but there's a bit of lane hopping.
Yeah. Well, actually, on that private funding thing, because obviously everyone has access to the same institutional. Not everyone. There's a lot of access to the same institutional funds, isn't there? Which ends up meaning you're very, very similar to everyone else, right? There's not a lot of leeway because you're kind of being led by the institutions. But on the private funding side, there's not. I would say out of that 240, there's not many that are genuinely private funded like you, are they? Like you, it's your guys' cash. It's your.
Not that I've come across. We've got a fair few lenders that have sort of discretionary pots that sit alongside institutional capital, but no. Oh,
Yours like mine. You have to give it a wave.
Oh no!
For anyone listening, these lights have gone off.
I don't know if it's a power cut or what.
Oh, your Wi-Fi's still on.
Yeah, that's true. Be right back, Marcus.
Oh no, you're in.
Am I?
Yeah, you're back on again.
And
real life problems. See.
Sorry about that.
The utilities. So private funding wise, like you said, there's not many that actually work like you, right? There's not many where you're sat next to the funding.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very simple process for us, and that's sort of
turn your chair.
Yeah. Keep spinning. If we had an inquiry this morning that needed to go out on Wednesday next week, for example, I could organise a call this afternoon, and there'd be 3 of us sat on this credit committee of sorts.
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk it out between us, and we'll say yes or no. You know, we'll have an answer for that broker this afternoon, and we'll be able to stick to our guns and say, actually, yeah, we like this. As long as nothing comes out the woodwork that hasn't been disclosed or has been intentionally withheld.
Yeah.
We just take a view there and then. And
so, where do you think? I mean, you've done incredibly well with a lean team. We've talked about this before. Like, I mean, can we talk about numbers, or are you not? Not everyone's comfortable about it. But
what sort of numbers are we talking?
You've got a fair amount of money out the door with a relatively lean team, haven't you? Because we're kind of growth-wise, we'll go through.
Sorry, yeah, I thought you said LinkedIn.
Oh no, sorry.
It's a lean team.
Yeah, so you've got a lean team. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we've got a very lean team. There's we've got an account manager that processes development drawdowns. We've got an account manager that manages our professional panel. We've got an AML, KYC compliance, and then we've got myself, Stuart, and Daryl, the 3 directors that sit on credit committee.
Nice. And I know you can get to a certain point like that, can't you? Again, we've had these discussions. What point? I suppose I know because we talk about it. But what point do you have to look at? Because there'll be people here in a similar boat that maybe lent a similar amount of money. But what point do you have to start looking at the growth side, as in numbers wise, team wise? When do you think that starts to become like an issue?
Yeah, we're pushing. We're knocking on the door of 100 million out the door now, and admittedly, it's stretching us now. Yeah. I would say we're nearing.
That's still a hell of a lot to get out the door before it starts stretching you, though. That's
2022 we were still doing 250,000 as our minimum facility. We've had to increase that slightly just because of the quantum that you end up seeing, and it's the same level of due diligence. It's the same amount of work for a 250 facility as it is a.
We were saying this. I was talking to a lender this morning. Funny enough, we're having the same conversation. Theirs is 100 grand to 25 million, and I was like, but you don't want to be signing off 100 grand deals. because it's the same amount of underwriting, it's the same process, it's the same, treasury problems. It's just, it's a lot of legwork, isn't it, for a lot less money?
It's hard work, but again, we do still like to support as many borrowers as we can, because
and I suppose when you support the small developer, he becomes the big developer, doesn't he?
Exactly. And again, we're capable of showing what we can do, and turn things around in the same sort of times on a 200 as we would a 2 million.
Do you find that as you grow that the quality of it comes in? Because when you started out, and I imagine as soon as you go out to brokers, you tend to get the stuff that people can't do. I'm speaking to people now, maybe a year in, there's some of these lenders who are just starting to lend money, and they are getting the dross, because people have to test you, don't they? Was there a nice point when you go, okay, we know where we are in the market now, and people know where we are?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still meeting brokers almost weekly that I've never met before. So, admittedly, we still get tested. And to be fair, with some of the brokers that we've met over the years, we have done some super quirky deals that wouldn't be placed anywhere else. I'm almost certain of it. So
you do have the case studies for that, mind you. Then that's all you get. You don't want that for your niche.
Well, exactly. It's difficult, isn't it? Because you shout about your wins, and you can say, "Oh, this is great. We did an amazing product," and it could be a ground rent portfolio, for example. That we have done in the past. That doesn't mean we'll do all of them. But
now you just put the keyword out there. Now you get 1,000 calls from brokers asking the same thing. It's not our niche.
But it's an ever-evolving environment, isn't it? So brokers' needs also change, and again, that's where I think listening to the brokers is really important, because they're on the ground, they're face-to-face dealing with it, fighting fire head-on, aren't they?
I know you mentioned it earlier on, but you're finding that you're kind of tweaking your products to what the market is saying, to what brokers are saying that they're not getting or they're getting. I mean, I think it's really important for people to understand, isn't it? Because just because you think this is a great product for X, Y, Z, actually, if you don't get any feedback, it's completely pointless.
Exactly that. I think it's really important. Again,
how I like to run off.
Is that yours? We're.
I'm back on again.
We're not dealing with hundreds of or thousands of clients, but our brokers out there are. And they're speaking to lots of people, and once momentum starts building, or they're seeing trends, as soon as they start saying to us, I've got like 3 or 4 of these on my desk at the minute, it's not going to be just them, it's going to be another brokerage just down the road, and you start seeing patterns. And if it's a market that you can get comfortable with, or a space you can get comfortable with, we're more than happy to tweak our products. Again, we don't have to go out back and say, do you mind if we do this? So
it's with 8 different funding lines.
Exactly.
So what's next for you with your growth, your kind of trajectory? Where do you see yourself fitting in the market?
I mean,
the market, rather, you've been in it a long time. But
the space. We'd like to have a book at around 150, I would say, as we come into 27, not so much 26. We've got a little bit of leg room under the desk here now. We've just grown and expanded or moved into a bigger office, so we've got capacity for another 6 or 7 people, I would say now.
Great news for recruiters. Although I'm assuming no other recruiters actually listen to this. It's all fun.
Well, if they do, here's the test.
Yes, but you can see that. You can see the growth in the market. You can see that kind of potentially.
Yeah, I mean, there's space. There's good lenders out there. There's more lenders in the market now, I would say, than there ever has been. So there are challenges.
We lost a few about a year ago, but about like like anything, 8 pop up in their place.
And there's legacy debts as well. It's not. A lot of lenders, us as well, we struggle with it as well. The market's slow in terms of disposals on some of these development sites.
We blame everything on legals like everyone does?
Yeah, exactly.
Bloody lawyers,
I would say that's more at the front end, isn't it? That's where we get most people moaning to us is, why haven't we completed yet?
Yeah, it's the lawyer. So with the slowness of the market, I mean, I don't want to go into the politics of it. We never talk about it, but there are houses to be built, right? There's business to be done.
Absolutely.
Why has it slowed down so much, do you think?
I mean, the sentiment is just not great in the UK as a whole at the minute. We're still seeing, in fairness to some of our developers, we're still seeing a lot of our schemes sell off plan. And again, that's why we're happy to stick by our developers. We're not saying, push out onto a buy to let, take a dev exit elsewhere.
Yeah.
We're happy to sit with them because a lot of our sites are selling, but when you've got more than 2, 3, 4 units, there is a lag.
Takes a while.
So I think it started to pick up, especially in the last month. The feedback I've been getting from agents on behalf of our borrowers is actually a lot more positive.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to take time to filter through. I think it's going to be a stickier market for the next 12 months, really.
Like we said before, when has there not been? When you find the market that's decent?
Yeah.
But it's an interesting one because obviously, like we said, we need to build houses, right? The need is there. There's just there's a sticking point that's really this affects everyone as well. Even from our side of things when it comes to recruitment. If you're feeling the speed of the market, exactly the same as us. About people wanting to move or being comfortable where they are. It's just a sticky market. It's a sticky market for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, you rely on businesses to perform in order to make a profit, in order to hire headcount.
Exactly. Yeah. If no one makes money, they don't want anyone else.
Exactly. I don't think it's been particularly supported, the jobs market over the last 12 months, especially, I would say. So
yeah,
I think that's probably deterred a few.
Just another stick in the spokes. We go on. So just in regards to the growth side of things, I know we talked about like financially where you want to be. Do you look at alternative products? Are you always looking at other things, or you just think like just build up with be better at what you're doing, or do you also want a bigger piece of the pie when it comes to other products?
I mean, we do a little bit of development ourselves as well. So I would say as it stands, we want to really refine our processes. We've gone through over the last 12, 18 months a lot of refinement to what we do in terms of compliance, the early stages of understanding our borrower.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of work, and we've still got improvements to make in terms of how that's translated throughout the facilities. So we've got some refinement to do. I think we're always looking at products and other sectors as well. But
it's
ultimately,
an important part for people as well, because they're getting people that are kind of chasing you, if you like, maybe 2 or 3 years in. To get those processes done nice and early. If you could have done it earlier, would you have a kind of that refining, or you don't know what you don't know?
I think you don't know what you don't know, and you've got to demonstrate that there's a demand for something before you start spending thousands or tens of thousands in refining something that hasn't been proven yet.
Problem yet, yeah.
Yeah. So if we started as a lender and there was no demand for us, what's the point in having a great backstory behind us when nobody's going to knock on the door?
Yeah.
So I think we've done it in a timely order. We're not an old lender by any means,
no.
But we've just been going through that process to make sure that we don't slip up. It's easier to get ahead of a problem or know of a problem before it's happened than it is to try and fix a problem. So that's what we've been really working on, and that's what I think we'll try and refine before we go too bougie with our products list.
So broker-wise, let's talk about those guys. So you were right. You went straight to developer initially because that was your bag. And then you've gone into the broker market later. Is that kind of the?
Yes.
Good. And how do you find it? I mean, obviously we're not going to slag them off. They're both, bite the hand that feeds us.
Yeah.
But how do you find it in the sense of not there are some amazing commercial brokers out there. There's also a lot of people that want to get into that space.
Yeah.
How have you found that education piece with some people who maybe don't know? Like, dev deal is hard.
Yeah.
To work out without it. I mean, are you comfortable with these kind of newer brokers, or is it a bit much for them, or what's your stance on it?
Again, we really like to get intimate with what we're doing, so we really like to understand it. In the past, we've had people just send us an email and say, this is so and so, and we've packaged everything up from the background there. As far as our brokers are concerned, every broker packages things differently. Sometimes a broker doesn't.
There's just a universal uniform of packaging a case.
But there isn't, is there? No. So it would be helpful, I guess. But it's a bit like why we can't fully automate in terms of AI and
because there's so many variables and everyone does it differently.
Exactly. And one quirk in one case, you will never get two cases that are identical, will you? There will always be something slightly different.
That's also a bonus for us on this side as well, that we can't be taken over by robots just yet.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think you ever can, to be honest, especially in the development space.
Yeah.
Maybe mortgage and things like that side of the business is going to be slightly easier to regulate or to automate, but yeah. I don't see it.
That if you're like a resi, but even then, I don't think there's loads of vanilla resi mortgages anymore, because there's always complex ways people paid and that kind of thing. And there is an element of the administration obviously being taken off our hands. But I think to say that we can't, the relationship side of things, where, and I also think with commercial, you do need someone in front of you to tell you it's going to be all right, or tell you this isn't going to work, or if the computer comes back and tells you it, it's very different. You can't look someone in the eye and say it's okay. This is how we solve it through AI. God hope not for a while anyway, because can't recruit AI bots.
No. Well, that would be difficult, wouldn't it? You'll be a tech recruiter.
Just engineer, I'm not wired that way. They're good. I won't be able to shake hands and struggle. Advice-wise, if you are speaking to someone or people who are in your, and there are a lot of people coming through at the moment, but what would you have done differently, or what advice could you give to someone who is setting out? I mean, they're never going to be setting out the same as you, because very rarely you get the funding, the in-house funding side of things, but what are the things that you say, if I could go back, I would have changed that, or if I had that bit of advice at the beginning?
Very, very tricky. I would say probably the education is very different to the working world. I think I put a fair bit of emphasis on I had to get certain grades or go and do certain degrees, and actually I don't think that I needed any of those. If I was just entering the world of development and bridge finance, I think actually understanding and learning on the job has been more beneficial than anything.
Don't tell all those guys just spending 40 grand on their commercial real estate degrees, but you're right, just get out there.
But it's even that's real world though, isn't it? It's you're actually going through processes and questions that are relative. But I think a lot of it for me comes down to personability, and some of the best brokers I've met, we were talking about one of them earlier that wasn't actually a broker. He's just a person.
He's a great guy,
but he could fall into any role and he'd be great at it just because
I won't name him on here because his head's big enough as it is, but he's lovely. But you're right though, that relationship management piece I don't think will ever be lost, especially on our side of the market.
No. And I would say that actually don't sweat the small stuff is what I would have said to myself, and actually just go and talk to people, have conversations, and you'll meet people and you'll understand the dialogue that's going on, and you'll learn from everyone. I'm still learning today, and I'll still be learning in 2 years. And like I say, it's an evolving market.
Yeah, so if we stop learning now, we're done, aren't we?
And like you said earlier, you don't know what you don't know, and we don't know what's around the corner.
How was that when you first went out? Actually, I was going to make that my last question, but I always think of more. But how was that when you first had to go out to broker? Was there a little bit not imposter syndrome because you've been a developer and you'd started it, but going out into the market, how was that for you initially? Because you are a rainmaker as well, aren't you? You go out and get kind of brokers in. What was that? What was that feeling like at the beginning? Was everyone fairly open and nice?
Yeah. I would say everyone, without exception, in the broker market, in first introduction, it has been and continues to be lovely. They want to do business. They're looking for a niche. We're a bit of a niche. We're a different string to a bow. It's well received.
Yeah.
In terms of imposter syndrome, I feel that almost daily, to be honest, because we're talking about numbers now that were inconceivable to me 10 years ago. And we're doing things that I just never thought that we would be doing and that I would be doing. So it's very real to me, that imposter syndrome. And sometimes when I'm meeting clients, one of my clients the other day stuck me in the most impressive box at Old Trafford I'd ever been to, and I just thought, how does this work? It's just not right, is it? But it's such an impressive industry, and there are some amazing people out there. But no, I've had a couple of prickly borrowers over the years, but in terms of the broker market and intermediaries, it's all been great, to be honest.
Oh, nice.
And it's a fun space.
Yeah, it's good. Like you say, the numbers are crazy, right?
Yeah.
But that's the market you're in.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, amazing. So thank you very much for your time today. But if anyone wants to get hold of you, any brokers, or I don't think we get any developers listening to this, but who knows? Any brokers want to speak to you, or anyone just generally wants to pick up the phone? I know you are. You'll be happy to talk to anyone. So, what's the best ways of communicating with you?
Yeah, absolutely. The Stamford Finance LinkedIn page, website, they both, I think even the inquiry or phone number buttons on there go straight to my mobile and emails anyway. So
we'll do something like that.
I would say the website is a good starting place. We've got a couple of our case studies and quirky bits on there as well.
Yeah, because it's hard to say quirky, because it doesn't. That quirky is not necessarily always the shit end of the market either. It's just the bits that other people can't do. Some people think quirky is that one that no one else has touched, or is undoable, but it doesn't mean that, does it? It just means there's some interesting stuff out there that you've done. And
do you know what? Sorry, I know I'm overrunning now.
No, that's fine. Carry on.
We've talked a lot about brokers. I've met some amazing lenders as well. And when we get inquiries, if it's not something that works for me, there is there's tens of other lenders that I'll generally be able to point someone in the direction of as well. And there's always people that are prepared to help.
Well in the market as well, I think. There's enough. I know we always say it's a bit cheesy, but there's enough business to go around. But it genuinely is. And also, I think that broker will remember last time, like, oh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Here's another one that you can do.
Absolutely. And again, we'd much rather look at something and say, sorry, it doesn't quite fit, than don't bother sending it in because it's just work. Because again, if it's not us, there might be someone that we know that could do it. So,
and it's just to add an extra bit of value. That's what I always think. That there's so many of us out there. It's how I think you separate yourself by that little bit of value add. Yeah.
Well, and again, personability. That's what we all rely on.
You want to help as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nice. Thank you, mate. I appreciate your time today. Thank you everyone watching and listening. It's been another episode of NRG Insights. But thank you, Peter. I will catch up with you soon.
Thanks very much for having me, Marcus.
Cheers,
all
mate.
the best. Bye-bye.